Hey guys, so this week we are going to be jumping back into grammar. I know we tackled capitalization the last time and you guys did awesome on it. So now we're going to start talking about run-ons and sentence fragments. And of course, this is communication 6. So you guys, you need to remember to take Cornell notes on this. And I know it's not always everybody's favorite, but you are going to have an assessment at the end of this lesson. And remember that you can always use your Cornell notes to complete the assessment. So make sure you take great notes, okay? Here are our learning targets for this entire lesson. I can identify sentence fragments. I can identify run-on sentences, and I can fix sentence fragments and run-on sentences using my knowledge of subjects and predicates. All right, so we're gonna review quickly subjects and predicates. I'm sure you guys covered this last year or you've covered it before, but we're gonna review it just to make sure because I love a good review. All right, so subjects are all the words that tell whom or what the sentence is about. All right, usually you're going to find that to be a noun. So I have my person, my place, and my thing down here for you guys to be able to take a look at. And then we have the predicate. And predicates are the verb, what is being done, and all the words that tell us about the verb. Okay, so I have a lot of action shots here because usually verbs are some sort of action, whether that's a physical action or a mental action, that is going to be your verb. And the verb and everything else that goes with the verb is your predicate. All right, so let's look at some examples here. We have the first one down here says, Hercules battled the nine-headed Hydra. For any of my fans of Greek mythology, I thought this one seemed really appropriate. Maybe you're a big fan of Percy Jackson. So if we're looking here, we have Hercules, and Hercules is our subject. That's our noun. That's what's the whole sentence is about. Remember, it was whom or what the sentence is about. Okay, so I am going to grab my little highlighter tool here. If I can get it. Maybe I can't. Oh boy, that would make me sad. All right, you guys, there we go. So Hercules, we're gonna highlight that, and there is our subject. Now our predicate is battled the nine-headed Hydra, because we know that battled is our verb, and everything else after that tells us about what Hercules did. So let's highlight that since the background's already yellow, we really don't want to do that. Let's do blue. Okay, so we have our subject and our predicate. Now let's go back up here. Okay, let's go up to this one here. The glass slipper fits only one person. So we're looking for our noun here. What is this about? Well, this is about the glass slipper, right? Because we're discussing how the glass slipper fits only one person. So the glass slipper is our subject. So let's highlight that. See if I can pick the right color this time, right, guys? All right, so the glass slipper fits only one person. There's our predicate. That's our action. What is happening in everything after the fact that goes with our subject. So we know our subject is the glass slipper, and we know that it fits only one person. All right, you guys, now let's go down here. This one's a little bit more complicated because we have two names. Caroline and Suzanne are looking for fables. So even though we have two people here, we've got that nice conjunction and there. And so these two names, Caroline and Suzanne, are both our subject, okay? So we've got a dual subject here. So let's highlight those guys as our subject. Are looking for fables. So we know that this is the action that they are completing. We know that they are looking for fables. Okay, so this is the action that our subject is taking. So this is our subject and this is our predicate. And we know that the fables are what they're looking for, so that gets added into the predicate. Okay, let's keep moving on here. I actually found this awesome video by Khan Academy, and you guys know I can't resist a clever Khan Academy video. So we're going to take about the 2.5 minutes to watch this to help solidify the subject and predicate review, just in case you didn't completely get it when I was explaining it.
Hello, grammarians. Hello, Paige.
Hi, David.
So today we're going to talk about identifying subjects and predicates, and in order to do that, we shall begin with a sentence. Paige, would you read me the sentence, please?
I bought a crate of goblin hats.
Thank you, Paige. So, Paige, do you think that's like hats for goblins or hats that make you look like a goblin?
Well, I bought it, so I can say that it is both.
So we could go either way, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
So a sentence is kind of like a car. It's got a lot of different parts, right? Like an engine or wheels or a body, whatever. A sentence is very much the same way, and you can divide up a sentence into parts. And so today we're going to be dividing up the sentence into subject and predicate. Paige, what is the subject of a sentence?
So the subject is a noun or a pronoun that is doing the action in the sentence, or performing the verb.
What does that mean to perform a verb?
Right, so a verb isn't always an action, right? That's why I wanted to clarify. Because you can say, like, I am happy. And am is a verb, but that's not like an action that I'm doing.
Right, you can't just actively am.
Right.
But in this sentence, I am happy, the subject, I, is performing the verb to be or am.
Right.
Gotcha. What is a predicate?
So a predicate is kind of all of the rest of the sentence that isn't the subject. So what it really is like the verb and all of the parts that are related to the verb. Yeah, verb and its pals, that's good.
So let's apply that approach to goblin hat sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking for a noun or pronoun that performs a verb in the sentence. Well, I found the verb, and the verb is bought. Who's doing the buying? I am. So
right.
Our subject is I.
Yeah.
And then predicate is basically everything else, right? So it's bought, what did I buy? A crate of goblin hats.
Right. So you can see that a crate of goblin hats is also a noun, right? But it's not doing anything in the sentence. I am buying.
So just because there's a noun, just because there's another noun in the sentence, like crate or goblin hats, doesn't necessarily mean that it's the subject.
Right.
So you have to look for the thing that is performing the verb.
Exactly.
So I think, Paige, that covers everything except exactly what a goblin hat is. But we can talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
So that's identifying subjects and predicates. You can learn anything. David out.
Paige out.
All right, guys. So try to remember that subjects are the noun, okay, or pronoun that performs the verb. Okay, and then the predicate is the verb and anything that's associated with the verb. All right, so let's keep that in mind as we're going forward here. I know that this was kind of a long review, but I wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page when we are moving forward to discuss what are sentence fragments and run-ons anyway. All right, so here's the whole point of why we're learning about this. Sentence fragments and run-on sentences are writing errors that can make your writing difficult to read. So knowing what they are means that you can avoid them or fix them if you find them. So let's take a look at a couple of examples here. One is a fragment and one is a run-on, okay? So example 1. Lily loves cats and she loves petting them because they have soft, silky fur. And she also really loves cats because they are cute and cuddly, and sometimes they even sit and sleep on her lap. And Lily hopes that someday she will be able to have a pet cat of her very own. Oh, I almost ran out of breath there, you guys. So this one is a really, really long sentence. There's a whole lot going on in there, right? Basically, we have too much information crammed into one sentence. It's hard to keep track of what is being said and what the point of the sentence is. So let's look at example 2. And so I did not. Wait, what? What did I not do? We're missing a big chunk of information here. So that means that our second example doesn't make any sense either, but in a very different way than the first one. So let's start breaking down exactly what we're seeing here. But what I want you guys to remember is that sentence fragments and run-ons are writing errors, and they make your writing difficult to read. All right, so let's break these two down. Let's get into the details. All right, so sentence fragments. Here is our definition of what a sentence fragment is. A sentence fragment is a part of a sentence that is written as if it were a complete sentence. A sentence fragment is missing a subject, a predicate, or both. All right, so remember that you can see why we went over subjects and predicates before we launched into this. Okay, because our review of subjects and predicates will help us because we need to know what is missing in order to be able to fix a fragment. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Let's try our hand at identifying sentence fragments and fixing them. All right, so here is my first example. The boy from my hometown. Okay, so that's an awesome subject, but what about the boy from my hometown? What did he do? What interesting thing happened here? What's going on? Well, that's because we're missing the predicate here. Okay, now let's look at example 2. Became a basketball star. Cool, somebody became a basketball star, but who became a basketball star? That means we're missing the subject. If you go, who, what, who or what are we talking about? That means that it's missing a subject. Let's put missing subject in there, okay? Now, example 3, in the early 2000s. Okay, what's going on here? Why this one is particularly confusing is because it's missing both the subject and predicate. And predicate. All right, just completely gone, missing 100%, no subject or predicate. All we have is just this tiny bit of information. So if you've noticed that if I put these 3 together, I'm actually going to complete a sentence because remember, it's missing a predicate here. This is missing a subject, and then this is missing both the subject and the predicate. All right, so let's look at our complete sentence. The boy from my hometown became a basketball star in the early 2000s. So I have my subject, which is the boy from my hometown. I have my predicate, which is became a basketball star. And then I have my additional bit of information here in the early 2000s. Of course, that would get plunked in with the predicate and become a whole section of the predicate. So let's get our predicate color going on here. Remember I made that blue before. And let's get our subject. And we'll make that red. So if you remember correctly, the subject is the person, place or thing, the noun, and any information about the noun. So that's why the boy from my hometown goes together into the subject, because the from my hometown is specifically about the boy who is our subject. So it all works together to be the subject, okay? It's a complete subject. And then became a basketball star in the early 2000s is our predicate because it is the action. It is the action that the subject is doing and any additional information that goes along with that action. All right? That is how we fix sentence fragments, is by identifying what's missing and then getting that information in there. Okay? Let's tackle run-on sentences now. All right, so a run-on sentence is 2 or more sentences, 2 or more complete sentences that are written as though they were a single sentence. Okay? These seem logical, but this happens a lot. Okay? Run-on sentences are very common, and we just need to know how to identify them so we can fix them. So here's our first example. I ate a brownie. I also ate a cookie. All right, so there are two ways to fix this. All right, but both ways separate out the sentences. Okay, I ate a brownie, period. I also ate a cookie. Okay, that one is where we literally separate out the sentences. We add in punctuation at the end of the sentence, put a space, make sure the first word of the second sentence is capitalized, and we have fixed it. Okay, now the other option with this one is to add in our lovely conjunction and. Okay, I ate a brownie, comma, and I also ate a cookie. It's important to include that comma before the and because these are two complete sentences. And when you combine two complete sentences into one sentence, you always have to have that lovely little comma friend before your conjunction. It's something we're going to continue to work on, but you will amaze any ELA teachers you have going forward if you make sure you drop in that comma, okay? Always, always, always drop in a comma before your conjunction if you have two complete sentences that you are combining to create one sentence, okay? Let's look at another example here. I like your shirt. Where did you get it? All right, so we've got a good question mark here at the end of this, right? Showing it's an interrogative sentence, but we have two complete sentences here, all right? So in order to fix this one, we are going to need to separate it. I like your shirt, period. Where did you get it? Question mark. I want you guys to note here too that that W is capitalized. Remember to always capitalize the first word of a new sentence. Always, always, okay? I like your shirt, period. Where did you get it? Question mark. All right, we have our two complete sentences here. We have fixed that run-on sentence. So let's look at these groups of words and let's give them the name of what's missing, okay? Or excuse me, what we're gonna do, I explained that poorly, you guys, my apologies. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be reading the sentence and we're gonna determine if it's a run-on, a fragment, or a complete sentence, okay? So let's start with this one. A table, a chair, 3 stools, and a flower pot. Okay, that's an awesome list. We even got a good number of commas in there, but we have no idea what's going on with the table, chair, and 3 stools and a flower pot. Okay, so if this is the case, then that means that this is likely just our subject. Okay, which means we're missing our predicate, which means that this is a fragment. Let's drop that in there. Fragments. All right. I want to dance. I need to change my shoes. All right. Those are two complete sentences, aren't they? I want to dance. I need to change my shoes. So if we have two complete sentences, then that means this is a run-on. All right. Let's pop over to the next one. I'm going to China to visit my grandmother. That has our subject. We'll do the I'm, even though it's I'm. It's just the I. There's our subject. And there's our predicate. Going to China to visit our grandmother. Okay? So this is a complete sentence with subject and predicate. Woohoo! Right? We got ourselves a complete sentence. All right, last one, you guys, is underwater. Okay, what's underwater? And remember, if we have to ask what or who, that means that it is a fragment because we are missing our subject. So this one, we have the predicate, we know what they're doing, we have the action, but we don't know who or what is doing this action. So this is a fragment, but we know that it is missing its subject. All right, you guys, now you're going to be doing something very similar to this in your assessment. So make sure that you've taken good notes on how to do this, okay? All right, you guys, we're wrapping up. You've been a rock star. I know it's been over 20 minutes, but I'm super proud of you for getting here. So what are you going to be completing for this lesson this week? You're going to be completing 2 additional activities and an assessment. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to complete a Quizlet. Now, in the Quizlet, you only need to do the flashcards, okay? And I've made note of that in the next assignment part of it, as well as on the Quizlet itself. All right, and it's called Fragments and Run-On Sentences. Make sure you do those flashcards, and then you are going to be taking a screenshot of your final, of the final flashcard that comes up that says, hey, you completed, all of the flashcards. Okay, you're gonna be taking a screenshot of that and uploading it. Again, I will walk you through that in the assignment. And then you're gonna play this really cool online game that I found. It's called Floyd Danger Adventure. And it's all about fragments and run-on sentences, and it's actually really fun. And you're going to be taking a screenshot of the end of that once you've completed it. And then you're gonna be uploading that screenshot as well to complete that activity. Lastly, you're going to be completing an assessment right here in Schoology. It's going to be called Fragments and Run-On Sentences. I know, very on brand, right, guys? And that you're going to be completing last, all right? Remember, you can use your Cornell notes on the assessment. That is A-okay, all right? So there's also going to be a discussion board open to everybody. So if you have any questions for me about what you're learning, you can post there. It'll pop through directly to me. It'll notify me, so I'll get on there and answer your question. And you're welcome to help your classmates, of course, but always remember to be super polite in your messages and to be helpful. And if you don't know the answer to the question, that's okay. Just let me or someone else answer it. All right? Okay, guys, that was a ton of information. You've done amazing. I'm super proud of you as always. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. Drop questions into the discussion board, and we're going to have a blast getting through run-on sentences and fragments. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.